Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Nitai Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, His Holiness Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Well, we made it. Your nerves are probably a wreck.
Yeah, I think I'm not choosing the right HDMI.
But you made it. Okay. Our controller back here. Are we ready to go? Are we ready to go?
Ready to go?
Please respond. Say yes or no. Are we ready to go?
Yes, sir.
I can increase more.
No. I'm just asking you. Is it okay? Should we begin?
Okay.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Those of you that were with us on Tuesday, there was a little confusion at the beginning because we were discussing a series of verses 30, 31, 32, 33, and we skipped 30, 31. The reason we skipped 30, 31 because that's in this presentation. So I've decided to go back and cover 30, 31. Although it's previously, in a previous city, we covered that verse, those two verses. But they're nice verses, and they all fit together with the topic, same topic, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So this is we'll be discussing verses 30, 31, which are emphasizing the achintya, or the non-difference between the personality of Godhead and that which comes from Him. Now, please bear in mind, this is Lord Chaitanya's teachings, and their scriptural foundation for his teachings, or as we were discussing, the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam are the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. The teachings of Lord Chaitanya are the teachings of Srimad Bhagavatam. They're the same. And we also mentioned on Tuesday this phrase, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva, was not Lord Chaitanya's phrase, but it was Jiva Goswami's phrase. It is Jiva Goswami, a great triple great scholar of our Gaudiya Vaishnava line. It has been said about Jiva Goswami, there never has been and there never will be a scholar of such magnitude. Besides the volume of what he wrote, just the depth of his presentations are profound, very special. So in the course of commenting on Srimad Bhagavatam and the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, he expressed Lord Chaitanya's teachings as this Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva teaching. So simultaneously, one and different. The absolute, the source of everything, the absolute truth, is simultaneously one with and different from everything. And so these two verses are emphasizing the sameness. Now there's an acharya that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu particularly liked, a previous acharya, and he was a Nrsinga Bhakta, and although he very much favored Nrsingadev, he understood Nrsingadev also particularly likes his devotees very, very much. So this is going back a little bit. I'm going back too far. I'm sorry. I went back too far. Back too far. Back too far. I went the wrong direction. Here we go. Relationship of all things with Krishna. That's Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. And 30-31 are dealing with the Achintya feature. The oneness and difference between the source of its emanation. And as you know, Srila Prabhupada dedicated his Bhagavad Gita to commentary to Baladev Vidyabhusan, meaning what Prabhupada wrote was not simply his realization, it's the summation or looking to the previous acharyas and at how the previous acharyas described Bhagavad Gita. And amongst them, Srila Prabhupada relied particularly on Baladev Vidyabhusan. And this section of chapter 9 in Bhagavad Gita also deals with the same topic. So that's why we're going there. Now, we're not going to cover his whole commentary. If you like, you can read his commentary. We're just going to touch on it a little bit. This is the Aishvarya Gyan. That's how Baladev describes these series of verses from chapter 9. The manifestation of Krishna's opulence. So there's a oneness and there's a difference between Krishna and his opulence. So all beings are in me, everything that is created does not rest in me. Sounds like a contradiction. So that's okay, because within Krishna there's the resolution of all apparent contradictions. And that, so it's like, okay, here we are sitting in the room in this house. And before we were sitting in the room in the house, we were somewhere else. And probably at the end, when this is all over, most of us are going to go somewhere. So we're here but not there, and then we're there but not here. But Krishna is simultaneously here and there. All beings are resting in me, but I am not in them. The Veda, this is now a philosophical point, the difference is important for respect or reverence. So the dasya mood, this is Dvaitavad is the doctrine of Madhvacharya. We discussed this. I'm just refreshing what we discussed already. There's two fingers in the air means there's differences. There's a difference between the servitor and the served. And that distinction, or Veda, makes for dasya. The servant serves the master. And then the result, the outcome of the servant serving the master is Vaikuntha. When there's a complete alignment between the servant, the one who is served, and the one who is serving, and there's nothing but that going on, that's dasya. It's dasya in a Vaikuntha mood, in the Aishvarya mood. But the abheda is needed for having a closer relationship, that is to say, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya accommodate Braja Prem. And Braja Prem is different than Vaikuntha. The mood of the residents of Vaikuntha, the worshippers of Narayan, there's only one. There can be different rasas, but there's not an intimacy of that rasa, because he's the supreme and I'm subordinate. That's it. But in Vrindavan, we can have different rasas. We can have a mother and father relationship with Krishna. Or the servants of Nanda and Yashoda, or Vasudeva and Devaki, they don't become Vasudeva and Devaki, but they become assistants of, or in the mood of, like the elders in Vrindavan. The elders in Vrindavan had the same mood as Mother Yashoda. When Krishna was in the coils of the Kaliya serpent, they all felt the same as she. Of course, she, Yashoda, being most intense as mother, and that the affection of those who are not mothers are not the same as the affection of mother. But and they were supporting her and so forth and so on. So there's many mothers, elders in Vrindavan, but in Vaikuntha, Narayan doesn't have a mother. Narayan doesn't have a father. There's no parental affection. It's only one thing, Aishvarya. Similarly, in Vrindavan, in Dasya, they're servants of Narayana, but the servants in Vaikuntha, in Vrindavan, there's a kind of intimacy that doesn't exist. Without you get the picture. So this Abheda feature allows for intimacy, and thus it accommodates the mood of Vrindavan, and that mood of Vrindavan was the outstanding mood that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally experienced and personally inculcated. You with me? Good. There's the appearance day of Madhvacharya, of Madhavendra Puri coming up. Madhavendra Puri is said to... Madhavendra Puri was in the line of Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya's teaching was only Beda. And the result of that love, the stage of perfection in Beda, is Vaikuntha, Aishvarya. In the line of Madhvacharya was Madhavendra Puri, and he was the first in the line of Madhvacharya to manifest, by the Lord's divine arrangement, to manifest this mood of love for Krishna in the feelings of separation, like the gopis feel, or all the residents of Vrindavan feel for Krishna. And in the course of cultivating that mood, he exhibited symptoms of ecstasy that are like the same mood of the residents of Vrindavan. And Madhavendra Puri, as you know, he has had wonderful things in his life, but he had a very intimate relationship with Gopal. You know that narration. He was seated by the side of one of the kunds, Govinda Kund, by the side of Govardhan Hill, and when a cowherd boy came and brought him some milk. Anyway, there's an intimacy between Madhavendra Puri and the personality of Godhead. And many, 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 many things happened that are exemplary of that intimacy. Many, many nice things. So, when he went, he was sent, without all the details of his life, his special gift to the world and to us in turn was the mood of Vrindavan, the mood of love and separation from Krishna that all the Vrajbasis feel. Particularly in his case, it was the mood of the gopis. And then he, Madhavendra Puri, gave Diksha to Ishwara Puri, who gave Diksha to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the same mood of the love of the residents of Vrindavan in relation to Krishna to his followers. That's us. That's the gift. Krishna is the ultimate giver, but Madhavendra Puri gets the credit because he received it and gave it to those who followed him, disciplic line. Baladev Vijayabhusan, whose commentary we're going to be here, is in that same line. So this is just his Bhagavad Gita analysis of these several verses from chapter 9 Bhagavad Gita, and then we're going to shift to the Bhagavatam verses, Prahalad's prayers. Both oneness and difference have to be there for intimacy of love. The servitorship with intimacy, both are needed. So Aishvarya Gyan stimulates reverence and devotion. Oh, my Supreme Lord, you're this and that and the other thing and the other thing and the other thing. Let me worship you. Let me be engaged in your service. So here is the first of those series of verses. Mayatatamidam sarvam jagat avyaktamurtina matstani sarvabhutani na chaham teshu avashtata. Many of you are familiar with the verse. So here's a little graphic to illustrate. By me, in my unmanifested form of Yaktamurti, this entire universe is pervaded. We're going to hear more about this from Prahalad. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. I pervade this whole universe. This is Baladev's commentary. I pervade this whole universe by my form, which is invisible to material eyes, and simultaneously all entities are within me, but I am not in them. And to explain, he gives the comparison or analogy of sunshine, which is all pervasive. Sunshine is all pervasive. Therefore, this is reference to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities, and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, the tongue is purified, and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. The avyaktamurti becomes perceivable, not with material eyes or material senses, but with purified senses, the avyaktamurti. Just as those who are greedy see everything as a source of money-making, the most perfect devotee sees Lord Krishna everywhere. Behold my mystic opulence. Verse number 5 of chapter 9. Nachamatstani bhutani pasya me. Let's say the verse together. Nachamatstani bhutani pasya me yogam aishvaryam bhurinnacha bhutasto mamahma bhuta bhavanaha. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Again, behold my mystic opulence. This is Lord Brahma beholding Krishna's mystic opulence. That is, within each of the forms of the cowherd boys that Krishna manifested, Krishna then manifested for each and every one of the cowherd boys a form of Narayana. And how many Narayanas are there? As many as there are cowherd boys. And how many cowherd boys? According to the Bhagavatam, in this chapter, asankhataha, means too many to count. Some finite number, yes, but too many. So that's how many forms of Narayan. And by mystic opulence, Krishna could easily accomplish all this. As the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, this is the Vishnu form, he's all pervasive, he's the maintainer, and he's everywhere. I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. So this is the all-pervasiveness of Krishna, yet he's not part of the cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. So he, Vishnu, or Krishna, who is the source of Vishnu, he, Vishnu, is the source. And he pervades and maintains and supports all those, although for most persons, with material vision at least, material senses, he can't be perceived. For he is the very source of creation. Remember, we heard this with the next two verses, 32 and 33. When Brahma was searching for his source of origin, he couldn't find. And why he couldn't find? Because the seed is no longer there. Because from the seed comes the mature stage of the seed, but the seed itself is gone. the source of the stem of the lotus flower, the source of the lotus flower, the source is no longer visible because the seed is no longer there. So he couldn't find the origin. By empiric study, we can't find our origin. We can't find the cause of creation. Myself is the very source of creation. So by empiric research, can't know. When we hear that everything is resting upon Krishna, we should, this is a Prabhupada's purport. We should not imagine him to be something like Atlas in Greek mythology, holding the globe on his shoulders, looking very tired. Big muscular Atlas. Rather, Krishna is aloof from this material creation simply by his supreme will. Everything is carried out perfectly by his inconceivable energies. So how this works, if you're Krishna, this is how it works. You have desire. Because all living entities have desire because we're part of Krishna who has desire. So if you have desire, Krishna has desires, he doesn't have to do anything. Why not? Because Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate, he has unlimited Shaktis. Unlimited. And he desires something and zoom, off they go to fulfill his desire. Because they have only one purpose, to fulfill the desire of the source. That's how Shaktis work. Krishna's Shaktis. So he remains aloof from creation. By his will, there's creation, but he does it through the manifestation of his Vishnu forms, and even the Vishnu forms don't do anything. It's all being done by their Shaktis. So he's not just arm's length, he's very, very distant yet very near. That's the idea. So that as the illustration on the right here, the three modes of material nature are moving the living entities within creation according to their position, the guna and karma, and Krishna is above it all. By his inconceivable potencies, all these things are happening. He is different from this material manifestation, yet he is present personally. This is his mystic power. So note, this is covering both the difference and non-difference in these early verses of chapter 9. Baladev's commentary. And the living beings are not in me. See my inconceivable power, I maintain them and protect them, but I'm not in them. My mind maintains and protects them, or his energies maintain. And so he just thinks a thought, and it happens, because his energies make it happen. We would have some problems if every thought we thought became a reality. It'd be really messy. But for Krishna, it's not messy. Yoga is sometimes defined as the means by which something very difficult is accomplished. Yujate. That's a Sanskrit root or dhatu for yoga, yujate. Yoga thus refers here to the Lord's form endowed with inconceivable Shakti, that's Vishnu form, whose quality is that his every desire is fulfilled without effort. Satya Sankalpa, or Satya Sankalpata Shakti. So you're all quite familiar with the term Sankalpa. Here it's a Sanskrit composition, so the ending is Sankalpata. Commonly we hear Satya Sankalpa Shakti, Satya Sankalpata. So, Satya is truth, Sat. And he just desires Sankalpa, and voila, it is. No delay in time or space. He doesn't have to get up and go to the office, and doesn't have to do any of that. He just desires. Satya Sankalpa Shakti. I maintain and protect, this is Baladev, I maintain and protect all beings, Bhuta Brit, but have no contact with them at all because my mind, Mama, Atma, takes care of them. Bhuta Bhavanaha. I maintain and protect them with my, or by my extraordinary yoga, by my Satya Sankalpita yoga. I do not have to act with my body to do this. He has nothing to do. But he does everything, but he does nothing. Does nothing because it's done by his potencies. This is Bhagavad Gita's way of saying, here's the Upanishad way of saying, by the command of that imperishable Lord, O Gargi, the sun and the moon remain in their positions. By the command of that imperishable Lord, O Gargi, heaven and earth remain in their positions. So it's another way of saying the same thing. Things happen because they're willed by the Supreme Lord, who doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't have to be personally, manage anything. By his energies, everything is done. Yeah, we saw this one. Yeah. Krishna's determination, or sankalpa, is itself actual fact. This is Prabhupada's purport. We may think of doing something, but there are so many impediments, and sometimes it's not possible to do as we like. But when Krishna wants to do something, simply by his willing, everything is performed so perfectly that one cannot imagine how it is being done. I was thinking this morning, just coming into the temple, maybe you've noticed, from at least where we park every morning, over on the left side there's a lemon tree. Now, how does a lemon tree produce lemons? If you search in that earth from which the roots are deriving its nourishment, where's the citric acid? The citric acid of the volume that a lemon tree produces. Figure it out. Let a scientist figure it out, and they'll come up with something, I'm sure. But it's unimaginable how it can happen. So now we're going to the verses of Prahalad, the prayers of Prahalad, because that's our topic. The oneness of Krishna with all things, that's his Abheda feature. Krishna alone exists in all phases of time. So that time is a whole other factor. There's time as we know it, and there's time as Krishna knows it. And the time as we know it comes from the time that Krishna knows. Now, how does that work? Meaning, there's eternal time, there's no beginning and no end. But everything in this world, there's a beginning and an end. And it moves by the force of time, and is destroyed by the force of time. So it's time as we know it. So Krishna alone exists in all phases of time, but there's only eternal time in the spiritual world. So how does he exist in this world? How does this all-pervasiveness of Krishna exist? We don't see it. We already discussed from 9th chapter Bhagavad Gita. Here's the phrase that we're going to be focusing on from text 30. Ekastvam eva jagat etam. Nice graphics. You alone manifest yourself as the entire cosmic manifestation. So here's the non-difference feature. Krishna and the energies of Krishna are one. The sun and the sunshine are one. You won't find sunshine without sun. You won't find shine without the sun. You won't find the sun. So they're inseparable. There's a oneness. For you existed before the creation. You exist after the annihilation. And you are the maintainer between the beginning and the end. All this is done by your external energy through actions and reactions of the three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists eternally and internally is you alone. So now, let us remember the context. There's little Prahalad, and he's facing Lord Nrsingadev, and he's exhibiting transcendental knowledge. Most little boys don't have that capacity. But he received that capacity by a combination of first Narada, and then the touch of the personality of Godhead on his head. And all his coverings were removed, and now he's directly contacting the absolute truth through his prema, through his love and deep devotion. So he's understanding things that, for us it's a little bit of a puzzle. We can hear it again and hear it again and hear it again, but it's not the intellectual capacity to understand things that are contradictory like this. But by bhakti it's possible. So there's a very elevated, Prahalad is in a very elevated stage of consciousness. He is a stage of prema bhakti. And in the stage of prema bhakti, one sees as being described by Prahalad. That is, we'll say it in two ways. The Vishnu is within everything. And everything is within Vishnu. It's mind-boggling. It's beyond the mind's capacity to resolve those two opposing statements. The cosmic manifestation is Krishna's energy. That's clear. And you existed before creation, after annihilation, or maintainer in between. All this is done by your external energy through actions and reactions of three modes of material nature. Therefore, whatever exists externally and internally is you alone. There's a oneness. But we don't see that oneness. We see material energy. Like to get here with winding, turn left, turn right, follow the GPS, we got here. It's a housing complex. Once upon a time, there weren't these housing complexes. It was whatever it was. Or like yesterday, we went to the university and I was hearing from Premadatri, all this stuff wasn't here before. It was a little dinky place. And now it's 60,000 students, and they have their expansion universities, and it's gigantic. That place is gigantic. But how long is it going to last? And some university buildings are very old, and these are kind of new. How long are they going to last? And what's going to replace them? So anyway, the temporariness of the material world, it's easy to forget it, but it's temporary, however long it's going to last. The Ivy League schools, Harvard, Princeton, Yale, etc., really old stone buildings, they're up for a long time, but they're also going to not last forever. Everything in this world is not going to last forever. At some point it's withdrawn, that's it. So all those things that are manifest, whatever it may be, new, old, or something, is temporary, and it's a manifestation of Krishna's energy. There's the time energy that helps bring it into being, that helps maintain it for some time, and will eventually destroy it. But those are Krishna's energies. They're extended and withdrawn at his will. So therefore, the that which is extended, old or new or however long of duration it is, it's his energy. It's you alone. There's a non-difference between the energy and Krishna. Here's a confirmation of the same. This is 7th Canto, Chapter 9. Here's 2nd Canto, Chapter 9. And it's one of the 4 essential verses, the Chatur Shloki verses of the whole Bhagavatam. Let's say the verse together. Aham eva sam eva gre nadyad yat sadasat param pashyat cham cha yavushishet om samyaham. Prior to the cosmic creation, only I exist, and no phenomena exist, either gross, subtle, or primordial. After creation, only I exist in everything, and after annihilation, only I remain eternally. So that's a fundamental, essential teaching of the entire Bhagavatam, and it's finding its way into this verse expressed by Prahalad. And similarly, Krishna is teaching the same thing in a simplified form in Bhagavad Gita. Here it is in Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita. Although very ferocious, the lioness is very kind to her cubs. Similarly, although very ferocious to non-devotees like Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev is very, very soft and kind to devotees like Prahalad. So there's, in the features of creation and the features of destruction, there's, it's harsh. I don't know if you all know, just today, in India time, Badrinarayan Swami left his body. And then, I don't know if you know, but one of the stalwarts of the BBT archives, about a week ago, he left his body, and told that it's that time where some of the early disciples of Srila Prabhupada who are with us, have been with us, doing extensive service, they're gone. And the time energy that takes those persons away is like, so the feature of destruction is not nice. But so the example that's given here is specifically the lioness, and so the lioness is very ferocious to others, but the lioness is very dear to her cub. The cub is very dear to her, and she's very dear to her cub, and it's a different relationship. So similarly, the relationship between Lord Nrsingadev and Prahalad, which is what he's recognizing, there's this deep affection between Prahalad, who's been protected by Lord Nrsingadev from the hands of this terrible personality, Hiranyakashipu. Again and again and again and again and again protected. So that feature of affection and oneness, where there's affection, that's very special, as opposed to the difference, it's just the mood of Aishvarya. The activities of the Lord are transcendental because to create this cosmic manifestation, Govinda expands his external energy and enters into everything in this universe, and in this way he exists in the entire cosmic manifestation. So that is, there are 3 Vishnu forms. One manifests the universes, another enters into each universe, and that Vishnu form enters into every atom and every living entity, and in this way he's the source of everything and he's existing in everything, but he has his own existence. He has his own transcendental existence. The comparison is made sometimes. There are verses in the Bhagavatam like this, that he, the Supreme Lord, in this place that he's the source of, he sometimes appears. And the comparison is made to a spider, that from his own body he produces a spider web, and then he climbs around the spider web. And then later he can withdraw the spider web back into his body. So it's not a nice comparison, but it works. Krishna isn't like the spider. The spiders aren't lovely, but Krishna is lovely. But the principle is, it's from him. The spider web is from him, and he moves around and about here and there. But he's not the web. The spider is not the web, although it came from him. And the Upanishads teach the same thing. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma at the bottom, or at the top. This is the Bhagavatam. Etas tam eva jagat etam. You are everything. This is Prahalad speaking to Lord Nrsingadev, and his feature of Vishnu. You are everything. Or from the Chandogya Upanishad. It's a very celebrated favorite verse of the Mayavadis. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. The energy and the energetic are one, so everything is one. So they just take everything as one. They don't make the distinction energy and energetic. There's no differences. There's just one, just Brahman. Brahma. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. All there is Brahman. But all there is the energy and the energetic, which is Brahman, or from Brahman. None of one's material qualifications, Janma Aishvarya Shruta Shibir, will engage one in devotional service. With devotional service, one should feel, this is the Aishvarya feeling, God is great, I'm very small, therefore my duty is to offer my prayers to the Lord. On this basis, can one understand and render service to the Lord. And the service to the Lord is, in different moods. But here's a nice example, that by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so inspired to be the servant of Lord Jagannath, he engaged everyone in the Gundicha Marjana pastime, so that Lord Jagannath, when leaving the temple, would be encouraged to take shelter in this place, and this place, as you all know, or we all should know, it's the mood of this place, Gundicha, is Vrindavan. The mood of Gundicha is Vrindavan. So Lord Chaitanya is very enthusiastic to invite Lord Jagannath to leave the place of majesty and go to Vrindavan. It's the mood of the gopis wanting to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. To Lord Chaitanya, there's the external, then the internal. The internal is the mood of inviting Jagannath to come, to Krishna to come leave the place of opulence and come back to Vrindavan. And so to make the place inviting, the service of cleansing and, thoroughly, and then they did it completely in rivers of water, went out of the temple, and then they did it again. So it's super clean, pristine, pure. And Jagannath came and stayed there for some days in Gundicha. So that's the mood of the servant, wishing not the opulence of the material, but the intimacy of the spiritual. Here, Jiva Goswami in his Krama Sandarbha is commenting on this verse. He, Prahalad, controls Nrsinga's anger by another rasa. Why did this low person become the object of your anger? Hiranyakashipu, you are one with the universe. But there is a harmony with the previous statements. that is, appearing in the world because of mercy to devotees, you protect persons like me, Prahalad. And you protect the universe in general as the Antaryami, Super Soul. But you do not do this directly, it is done by others. Showing this oneness, he explains, this is Prahalad, explains the Lord's related pastime of creation and destruction. Let's do that again. It's very insightful. Prahalad is using the example of creation to metaphorically describe the Lord's protection as Lord Vishnu protecting everyone. We'll say it again. It's true that the Lord Vishnu is the source of everything and everyone, both matter and spirit. He's the source of everything. And Lord Vishnu, or the personality Godhead, is the source of everyone and everything. You enter into this place that you create as the Antaryami, the Super Soul, to protect those that are in this universe. So similarly, you, Lord Nrsingadev, like the Creator, enters into the heart of every entity and every atom to give protection to everyone, and so there's justice in the universe. Then similarly, you've come to annihilate my father because he was a scourge of everyone, the demigods and everyone in the whole universe. You've come to protect the whole universe. That's why you've appeared, and that's why you were angry. But now he's gone, so please let your anger dissipate. Similar commentary by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Protection of the devotees who are beyond the gunas, by you who are beyond the gunas, is also beyond the gunas. The creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material universe are accomplished by you who are unaffected. Now there's a little gap because somehow the spacing didn't work properly. The universe is you, since you are its cause. You are seen by the intelligent to be different, like Madhvacharya, to be different from the universe with beginning, middle, and end, because you're eternal, and you're not. So why do people not see this? Having created this universe made of transformations of the gunas by your Maya, which is different from your Swarup Shakti, you enter it. Because of the gunas, you are perceived as the destroyer, protector, and creator. Actually, however, Tamogun is the destroyer. Sattvagun is the maintainer. Rajogun is the creator. Since you enter while remaining untouched by the gunas, you are designated as the destroyer, creator, and maintainer, but you are not. Now, it sounds a little bit like double talk. I call it the Upanishadic double talk. You're this, but you're not this. You're that, but you're not that. You walk, but you do not walk. You're very near, you're very far away as well. You're within everything, and you're outside of everything. That's the Upanishad's way of saying. And then there's the Bhagavatam way of saying that. It's the same contradiction, but because of the love that Prahalad had, the prema that Prahalad has for Lord Nrsingadev, he understands these things intricately well. So now here's a little summation of these two verses, and we'll go to 31. Everything is one with the Supreme Lord, yet everything is separate from the Lord. This is the understanding of oneness and difference, Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. So here's 31. Krishna remains aloof from the entire cosmic manifestation. And we heard this, but we're now going to hear it again. There's the seed and the tree, the cause and the effect. There's the tree and a tree. Phases of time are under the control of the Supreme Lord, thus different from Him. So this is the difference feature. There's the oneness feature, there's the difference feature. Here's the verse, text 31. Here's the translation of text 31. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, the entire cosmic creation is caused by you, and the cosmic manifestation is an effect of your energy. Although the entire cosmos is but you alone, you keep yourself aloof from it. Now this is little Prahalad speaking this way to Lord Nrsimhadev, who was just roaring, but now he's calm. The conception of mine and yours is certainly a type of illusion, or maya, because everything is emanation from you and is therefore not different from you. Indeed, the cosmic manifestation is not different from you, and the annihilation is also caused by you. The relationship of the personality of Godhead, Sambandh again, the relationship of the Lord and His potencies. So, commentary. The relation between your Lordship and the cosmos is illustrated by the example of a seed and the tree, or the subtle cause and the gross manifestation. So that lots of trees with lots of colors and different varieties of species of trees, and it's very colorful, very nice. And it all comes from a seed. The seed of a tree. Everything exists in time, and the three phases of time factor, past, present, and future, are one. Every day, the time factor is experienced as morning, noon, and evening, and everything taken together is one. This is Prabhupada. Everything passes through time's phases of present, past, and future, yet the Lord is always the same. He is Nitya Shashvata, eternal and permanent. Yet it's all coming from Him. He's permanent, but it's all coming from Him. So here's another reference, right from this verse. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is commenting, your creation is full of varieties. There is no difference between one thing and another, yet in varieties there are differences. For example, Madhvacharya gives the example concerning a tree and a tree on fire. Both trees are the same, but they look different because of the time factor. The time factor is under the control of the Supreme Lord, and therefore the Supreme Lord is different from time. These two Veda distinctions. That's Madhvacharya's doctrine, but we all know. And it's facilitated by time. Let's go back. We did this on Tuesday. We're doing it again. Prior to creation, everything exists, but it's dormant, including the material energy. Material energy isn't created or destroyed. Living entities aren't created or destroyed. They're manifest, and the pradhan is the undifferentiated state, and by the glance of the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu, and his glance, entrusted in his glance by his internal potency, is time, Kala Shakti, and Jiva Shakti. They zoom, 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 there they go with his glance. And they contact pradhan. What's pradhan? It's all the material energy, undifferentiated. And by contact of the living entities and time energy, it becomes agitated. They're both powerful forces, And the totality of living entities plus time contacting Pradhan, they start to differentiate. This is Sankhya, creation. It's a very different picture than the singularity notion, once upon a time. So, false ego, most subtle. And then from the false ego, the more gross, you get all 24 elements. And those 24 elements then cling to or conglomerate upon the living entity. But they don't have form yet, so it has to have form. So that's where Lord Brahma comes to build the form. The primary creation and the sub-creation. So Brahma is needed in all this picture. So he's generated to build the universe. The mode of passion, mode in charge, the creator. And then he does through the agency of others also, Prajapatis, and then they produce Praja. And you got the universe filled up. Before it was no universe. It was undifferentiated matter. So the span of time is vast, and we don't see the span of time because it's gone. Although the same thing is Madhvacharyas, the tree that's on fire and the tree that's just standing there in the forest, or your Christmas tree or whatever it might be. There's just phases of time influencing matter. And that's what's going on. But that matter and time is Krishna's energy. And so it's not different than Krishna in one sense, but different from Krishna in another sense. So again, there's little Prahalad, little boy, and he's understanding all these things because his consciousness has become purified. So we also have to have consciousness that becomes purified somehow. The touch of a spiritual master, or the Bhaktivedanta purports, and the previous acharyas revealing truth with a capital T, or tattva, the truth of the Supreme Person, Krishna tattva. And then our sadhana that helps us become free from coverings, done properly. And then we can get realizations of what Prahalad is saying. An advanced devotee, consequently, does not distinguish between happiness and distress. Tattenu kampam susamikshamano. This is a verse by Lord Brahma. It's quoted in the purport of text 31. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. There's Brahma offering prayers to Krishna at the end of Brahma Vimohan Leela, and this is one of his most celebrated prayers. Most celebrated prayers. And it's how we can face obstacles or reversals or difficulties or uncomfortable situations that arise in life. Continue, whatever happens, continue with that place of shelter in the right mood. The right mood is with heart, words, and body, Tanuvan Manobir, offering respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead. As a son inherits the property of his father, similarly, when the devotee is fully Krishna conscious, undisturbed by dualities, he is sure that he will return home back to Godhead, just as one inherits his father's property. Mukti Pade Swadhyabhak. Mukti Pade Swadhyabhak. Everything is one, that is the Supreme Lord, yet everything is separate from the Lord. This is the understanding of oneness and difference. Again, right from the purport of this verse. Vishwanath always has wonderful things to say. Though the universe is Maya, since Maya is my Shakti, if there is irregularity in the world, will that not mean irregularity exists in me? Krishna might ask. And the commentator says, it is true that you are the effect and the cause of the universe, since you are the cause of Pradhan, this undifferentiated Prakriti. The universe is not different from you, but you are different since you do not have a beginning and an end. But the conception that this is my friend and this is my enemy is ignorance. Maya, made of the jiva's ignorance. This is false. Having shown that, the cause is not different from the effect. An example is given to defeat the idea that the Lord has defects, if the universe has defects. That from which creation and manifestation take place, that in which destruction and maintenance take place, is like the seed of a tree. The seed is the cause, and the tree is the effect. Vasu refers to the sense object, and kala refers to the earth, since the normal color of earth is black. Interesting, huh? The cause and the effect or the seed and the tree are like the smell and the earth. Thus, the universe, with cause and effect, has the Supreme Lord and Pradhan. The meaning is this: from smell comes earth, from the seed comes the tree, from the Lord comes Pradhan, from Pradhan comes Mahatattva, from this comes the Devatas, animals and others, just as the one sense object, or like fragrance, contains all causes and effects, or products of earth. You alone are the cause and effect of all beings, confirmed by Chandogya Upanishad. The world is not different from the Lord, Tat. This is stated starting from the word Arambhana, Arambhana, right in this Chandogya Upanishad verse, and citing Vedanta Sutra. To just see how our acharyas, and it's a little, even going slowly, it's still a little like, what exactly is he saying here? But it's a place of realization. The name comes from the object called clay, just as objects made of clay come from clay. The clay is real and the objects are real. Chandogya Upanishad. Just as there's no inequality of fragrance, the cause of the earth, though there is inequality in the material objects like stone and wood made of earth, there's no inequality in the Lord, though there is inequality in the world produced by Him. Now you're all enlightened, right? What's going on? Now, the prayers of Prahalad are quite simple, but to unpack that which is simple, you find some threads. Remember this example? There's the cotton, there's the thread, and there's the cloth. That was the upcoming verses that we already covered. So when you look at, what he's doing is he's taking the cotton and showing us the cotton, he's showing us the thread, and he's showing us the cloth. And under high magnification, you can see the threads, this color, that color, and whatever the color is. Some print may have different colors of thread. But it comes from cotton. And it's nothing but cotton. Or silk, or whatever the cloth is made up of. And where does the silk come from, or where does the cotton come from? There's a source. So the source what the manifestation is from the source. There's a non-difference, and then there's a difference. That's in simple language, that is not so difficult. The cause and the effect have a relationship of oneness and difference simultaneously. And one can look at it through this lens, one can look at it through that lens simultaneously. One can see this, one can see that. They're simultaneously existing. But it's not easy. It's just like a computer. I don't know so much about computers, but I know this much. It's a binary processor, like the mind is. In binary processors, this much I understand. It's either a 1 or a 0. In coding, computer coding it's a 1 or a 0. There's so many 1s and so many 0s in combination, and you get computers. And then you can make computations. And that's what the mind does. So in the mind, you can hold the 1 or you can hold the 0. It's like, a switch, electric switch. It's either on or it's off. It's either 1 or a 0. It's not you 1 and a 0 at the same time. It's not on and off at the same time. But Krishna does both at the same time. He's a very special computer. Two things at the same time. The cause and the effect at the same time. And that a philosophical paradox. You remember that Bhagavad Gita chapter 9 description. It's there in Bhagavad Gita. The language is simple, but the principle has the same complexity. And then, so all these commentators are taking that which is the same difference and non-difference concept, and getting a magnifying glass out, looking at it more closely, 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 and then step back, and there you see the thread, or you see the cloth, the cosmic manifestation. Now, using cosmic manifestation as a comparison back to Prahalad's prayers, you, Lord Nrsingadev, you're that original cause. And this place is not different than you, and because it's from you, you give, you antaryami, you protect. Coming up, I'm just going to end with this. Coming up very soon is Lord Chaitanya's appearance day. And as you probably know, he had an elder brother that survived. His name was Vishwarup. And Lord Chaitanya he was nicknamed Nimai, and so he went commonly by Nimai Pandit. But his given name was Vishvambar. Vishvambar means maintainer of the universe, protector and maintainer of the universe. Vishvambar, protector and maintainer of the universe. So it's in these prayers, we're going to come to it later. He is known as Triyuga. This is one of the prayers by Prahalad. He, the Supreme Lord, who Lord Nrsingadev, he's addressing Lord Nrsingadev, you appear in 3 yugas. But he appears in 4 yugas. So Lord Chaitanya, appears as the giver of the Yuga Dharma, so he's a Yuga avatar, but not a Leela avatar. And when he comes to protect. And how does he protect? Through the Sankirtan. So he comes as a devotee of himself. There, thus, Triyuga, he doesn't manifest his divinity, with exception, but he doesn't manifest his divinity, but he's appearing as the devotee of the divinity, the devotee of the Supreme Lord. And then it's very refined. He appears in a mood, and in his pastimes, more and more and more and more and more till the concluding of his pastimes. He was in Vrindavan. He was in the mood of separation from Krishna in Vrindavan by residing in Puri. He was in the mood of love and separation in madness, in complete madness. That was his pastime. It's very esoteric, and what to speak of analyzing like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is doing here. From the Chandogya Upanishad and this and that and the other. What's the relationship between the source and the elements? This thing of fragrance, it has everything to do with Sankhya philosophy. Those of you that have studied the second canto, third canto, where the unfolding of the universe is described, what happens in principle is subtle first, and then from subtle, more grows, more grows, more grows, then you get everything. So the earth is gross, but within the earth there's fragrance. And so the subtle exists before the gross exists. And that's how creation works. So you wiggle something over here, and then something over there wiggles. Cause and effect. And one who understands the laws of cause and effect can understand creation. And who's the cause of that cause? From our class on Tuesday, somebody in Singapore was listening. I don't know if we have, is it online working? I'm looking at you. Yes. You don't respond. Are we on live stream?
Yes, we were.
Okay. So she was listening from Singapore. And she sent me this little presentation that she made when she was in her graduate school about creation. And there's a science. Once upon a time, there was a singularity. It was like the total mass of everything compressed in an invisible point. Now, how did that happen? Don't ask that question. It just existed. And then time, and then by chance, time, everything went kaboom. And the singularity exploded, and it became very hot, and was floating around in space, and cooled off, and some planets are still hot, some have cooled off, and that's their explanation. So what's where did the singularity come from? Who pushed the plunger? Who started this whole kaboom? The big bang, the big explosion of the singularity. No explanations. No cause. Just chance. Chance, that's all. So who can believe that one? So many people believe, and they have their ways of establishing it and then modifying it with new findings and experiments and so forth. So this is before those people started figuring out singularities and this theory of creation. So this is a very interesting description. So, the Sankhya has a description of the creation. It's very different than the singularity, Big Bang explanation. Very different. And one of the biggest differences, there's intelligent design. There's a plan behind all this. Because Krishna wanted it. Why did Krishna want it? Because living entities want it. He doesn't want it, but living entities want. So he wants Anumanta. He permits. So it shall be. And so it was. Like that's the Bible. God said, da 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 da, and so it was, and it was good. Genesis of the Bible. Pardon me. Could you do that again? So the Bhagavatam gives the details, and it's a little mind-boggling to hear the details. But the principle is there's an origin of everything. The origin of everything is a person. Within that origin of everything is everything. And then sometimes it's manifest and sometimes it's withdrawn. And so different states of being. That's on the temporary side, but with the eternal is unchanged, whether there's manifestation or not manifestation, or in between. And everything is resting upon the most primordial, subtle of all things. That's one of the details about in these commentaries that are a little confusing, or can be a little confusing. The most subtle is the basis of everything, and the most subtle of everything is the source of everything. Antaryami, you don't see him, but he's there. And is it possible to see him? Yes. How is it possible? He reveals himself, one can see him, but then one has to become purified and qualified, and then he can reveal himself. Or he may reveal himself. And Prahalad is feeling himself like super fortunate. And we should also. Who are we? What's our qualification to hear all this mystery? And then our commentators that are discussing the mystery, and we're eavesdropping their discussions. What's our qualification? But somehow, then the bhakti, being bestowed bhakti and being nurtured in bhakti by this process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, that's it. Somehow, mercy came. And if you don't understand everything, it's okay. Go on hearing. And like a child, how much is this little girl understanding everything? Probably not too much. But here she is, very peaceful. A little restless, but still peaceful. And slowly, all of us, so by hearing and gradually maturing in bhakti, we can start to understand things that when we're, an earlier stage we couldn't understand. A less mature stage we couldn't understand. That's okay. So if you don't understand everything, it's okay. Go on hearing from the right source. And with the ear that I want to understand. I don't understand, but I want to understand. From the hearing from the right source, by Shabda. And see if there's any discussion. Comments or questions, anybody over here? Do we have a microphone? Oh, fantastic, he woke up.
Thank you, Maharaj. So from today's and even Tuesday's discussion, it reveals that there is so much in those prayers, even though they look so simple.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. There was this, the last one, which over here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to answer the question whether if the creation is from the Lord, then if the creation has some defects in it, then does the Lord also have defects?
Mm-hmm.
So like you're mentioning the cotton and the cloth, So when we see the cloth, it is actually cotton. And you can have deformities in the cloth, but actually the cotton doesn't have any deformities. Is that how he's trying to explain that?
You're introducing a nice word, deformities in the cloth. Supposing the cloth doesn't have deformities, but it's temporary. Supposing there's a burn hole in the cloth, but supposing there's not a burn hole in the cloth. Supposing it's like, brand new cloth and there's no damage to the cloth. But it's imperfect in the sense, the cloth is imperfect in the sense that it's temporary. And the Lord is not. The Lord is all cognizant, and the cloth is not. There's things in the creation that are compared to that which is perfect. The creation is imperfect. So does that mean there's imperfectness in this creation? Or, take other things, behaviors and speech, and, people do things that are harsh to one another and or unintentionally, but step on somebody's foot or something like that. And it comes from the Supreme Lord. So there must be imperfections in the Supreme Lord. Is that true? So that's what's being addressed. Okay?
So one more.
Yeah,
one more
go
question.
ahead.
So in the beginning, like you also mentioned that the aspect of Antaryami, that how Prahalad Maharaj, because I think Jiva Goswami, you were mentioning that he's mentioning that how Narasimhadev is beyond the gunas, the pure devotee is beyond the gunas, and that's why his activities of protecting is also beyond the gunas.
Yes.
And for the living entities who are in the gunas, then the Lord is protecting them through the gunas, as like the gunas are protecting the living entities. So what does protection over here mean in that case? Well,
you just added something that I don't know that's in what the commentary said. You said that the gunas are protecting the living entities. You said that.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure that's in our commentary. The gunas are protecting the living. The gunas are bewildering the living entity. The gunas are providing, the fulfillment of the desire of the living entity. Supposing I'm a criminal. Where do I get the intelligence to be a criminal? From the gunas. So I want to be a criminal. So here's the intelligence to be a criminal. Go ahead, figure out how to rob a bank. Takes intelligence to do stuff. Okay.
So then, what's the protection aspect in the for the living entities who are not pure yet?
The opportunity two things. I call it the school of hard knocks. They get the opportunity to learn, my dear dependent living entity, you're my son, you're my dependent living entity. And you want to do something that's detrimental. And I'm advising you, please don't do that, but you're insisting. Okay. So the protection is, the soul is eternal, but the school of hard knocks can teach you it's not the right decision. And then in the midst of that not right decision conduct, to come, to send representatives, to give teachings, to alleviate that mistake. Without interfering with the free will of the living entity, the potential to get the correct course is protection. And meanwhile, living entities are eternal. They're eternally going on in ignorance, but eternal. They're never destroyed. Okay. Namapriya.
Maharaj, I think this is the first time.
He's got a little button.
I think this is the first time I heard so much deeper into this Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. I think so far I was kind of simplifying it. I think I was just thinking it's qualitative oneness and difference.
You don't have to be a scholar. For those that are wanting to understand what's behind that, our acharyas are helping us. But you keep it simple, that's fine.
Yeah. So one thing what I'm trying to connect the dots is that here I understand Krishna is the source of everything, everything comes from him, everything is in him, but he's not in all that. I understand all that.
Okay, that's Bhagavad Gita.
But in the beginning, how you mentioned about it is important to understand the Veda and Abheda, like that relationship, because if we are different, we have the Vaikuntha mood, whereas it is important to understand the other bhav, so
Yes.
it can be the
Yeah.
Vrindavan mood.
Yes.
So I'm trying to understand how this is connected over, like, because it feels like one is the creation aspect of Krishna in Achinta Bheda, Bheda Tattva, but there's also this different aspect of the mood. Is that right, what I'm understanding?
Yeah. Now, the question you're asking, say it simple. In simple language, how do we put the puzzle pieces together so that the non-difference intimacy and the difference majesty result in loving relationship in Vrindavan? Please explain that. That's what you want. Because it's a very nice subject and a very important subject. Let's step back and certainly, because Madhvacharya is a proponent of the difference, that's his Dvaitavad, and therefore the impact of his teaching is Vaikuntha, the majesty aspect. You're tiny, God is great, serve Him. It nurtures dasya, servitude to the Supreme. Looking up, He's the Supreme. The other, this intimacy of Vrindavan, is also an aspect of Krishna, but it's not emphasized when you just do the Dvaita Vad thing. So if you really want to understand it in deep perspective, you're going to have to read the commentaries of acharyas and then get the concepts clear, and then the puzzle pieces start to come together. But if you don't have that acumen, you just keep it simple. Keep it simple also works. That is, there's an intimacy that exists in Vrindavan that doesn't exist in Vaikuntha. Not only mother, father, but all the rasas. There's an intimacy in all the rasas. And that has to, that the oneness feature nurtures. Here's a nice example. You know, it's philosophy, but a nice example is chapter 28 of Canto 10, the Bhagavatam. And Nanda Maharaj is bathing in the river Jamuna, but he entered to break the Ekadasi fast at the wrong time. So the agents of Varuna came and kidnapped him and brought him to the abode of Varuna. So there's, how Nanda Maharaj survived underwater, doesn't say, but he went to the abode of Varuna. And the residents of Vrindavan were in big anxiety. It's this intimacy, big anxiety. Krishna knew, so he went to the abode of Varuna and demanded. His father watched and heard. I don't know how they talked underwater. I don't know how that works. But I want my father back. And it was like, yes, sir. The majesty, the Aishvarya. And his father saw this exchange and heard the exchange. And the obedience with Varuna, who he knows as one of the devas, is listening to his little boy, his son, like he's the superior. So he came back to Vrindavan and told the Vrijvasis, it appears my son is the personality of Godhead. That breaches the intimacy. And then, so there's a detailed commentary, because it's a delicate topic, But yes, it's responsive to your question. Nanda Maharaj had that idea, but it didn't cripple his intimacy. Whoever he may be, he's my son. The preponderance in this particular passage, right after the next chapter is rasa dance. So it's not like all the Brijvasis got, light went on saying, hey, he's the personality of Godhead. They still are in the mood of intimacy. He's my son, wherever he may be. Like lifting of Govardhan Hill. That comes much earlier. Then he's showing his divinity. And then Indra comes before him and does what Indra does. So Varuda did what Indra did, with something very similar. So they're seeing his divinity, but they're able to process his divinity because of the intimacy. They don't let go. They don't lose that intimacy. He may be whoever he may be. He's my son, and I have to look after him. That's it. And he's attached in that mood. He's attached, transcendentally attached, in the mood of intimacy, as father is to son. Now, for you and me, to process that, how do we process that? But it's a bhava, it's an ecstasy of love, that the oneness feature is different than the difference feature. That doesn't break once it's there. The residents of Vrindavan don't leave the idea. Even when Krishna leaves and so many things happen. There's this meeting in Kurukshetra, the solar eclipse and all of that. But they don't want to see Krishna in his Dwarka feature. They want Krishna in the Vrindavan feature. It's delicate or subtle or confidential. And that whole chapter is fantastic. The gopis want to hear from the queens, and the queens want to hear from the gopis. What was it like in Vrindavan before we married Krishna? What was it like? And they want to hear what's it like being married to Krishna. So it's like they know they have an understanding of his divinity, but the intimacy is so strong. It doesn't break. Even he shows his Aishvarya, doesn't break. Mother Yasoda looks in Krishna's mouth and sees what she sees. It doesn't break. And that's his, infancy. So now let's take a step back a little bit, and then there's verses in the Bhagavatam that seem to emphasize this, and others that seem to emphasize that. And they're both there. The strands, like a cloth, that has different warp and otam and protam. Some that go this way, some that go. So they're both there. That's why you have cloth. And sometimes emphasize this, emphasize that. They're both there. And that's in terms of our perspective of the Aishvarya, the Vaikuntha mood, and the Vrindavan mood, they're both there. That's the cloth. That's the cotton, the weave. And it's very special. Very valuable. Most valuable. Now, to understand it more deeply, like our acharyas understand it more deeply, and to follow their commentary, it takes purified consciousness. No harm in hearing purified consciousness when you're not yet purified. Right? That sound vibration is purifying. Think of what Prabhupada did to bring Krishna consciousness to the West. The culture of no culture, and to bring culture, or to bring knowledge of Krishna to people that were, no sense control at all, living like animals. So to awaken the dormant Krishna consciousness by sound, and by his caring, his loving capacity. It's very powerful. Bhakti is very powerful. So that's how to understand better. Hear again and hear again and hear again, and hear again and hear again and hear again, and then slowly, slowly. Oh. Okay. Yes. Look at that. Microphone just.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. Salutations unto you. We did talk about the desire. We all living entities desire, and this quality we have inherited from the Supreme Lord Himself.
Yeah.
So my question is, we living entities are not complete, so we desire and we try to fulfill them. What is the reason why Krishna desired? Although he is a complete and obsolete, what was the cause for him to desire, and what is he trying to fulfill himself?
Don't impose your limitations on the unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because that's who he is.
So was it this desire that caused the world manifestation to happen?
His love. There's two things. He, the Supreme, like mother and father, know what their dependents may want. Some of the things they say no, and some of if they say yes, it may be a reluctant yes or maybe a wholesome yes, depending upon the circumstance. So he is upadrashta anumanta. He oversees and he permits. That's Vishnu, the super soul. He oversees. He's omniscient. He knows what's going on, and he permits. The permits maybe reluctantly, but that's his question. How does one achieve protection while in the material world? So I don't want to get lost from your question, but where does Krishna get his capacity to desire? That's your question. It's fundamental. It's intrinsic. It's him. Where does he get his feature of eternality? He doesn't get it from somewhere. He's eternal. He is the source of everything. Satchitananda Vigraha, that's him. Vigraha with form. So where does he get the form? He doesn't get the form. He doesn't get knowledge. He doesn't get eternality. He doesn't get desire. He is fundamental. That's the source from which everything comes. So where everything, that which is the source, where did that come from? That's a rhetorical question. The source of everything doesn't have a source. Something, the language that you used in raising your question needs a little editing, because it's not like we're tiny, 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 according to Bhagavad Gita. We're tiny fragments of Ame Vangsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta eternally, Sanatana. And because we're eternal fragmental parts, we have qualities like that from which we have come. So he has Satchitananda, we have Satchitananda. But the mistake is not looking to the Supreme Satchitananda for my Ananda in the mood of love. I'm looking for something, it's the rebellious spirit, misuse of free will. We'll come back to your question. Where does that misuse, where does free will come from? Where does desire come from? From the Supreme. But we can misuse it. He doesn't interfere. He doesn't like it, but he doesn't interfere. So he fulfills, he sanctions, the material creation, where we suffer. You don't want, a parent doesn't want the child to suffer, but they may sanction something if the child is adamant and insistent. You know how it goes. Okay. And then you're going to learn the hard way. It's not good for you. It's not wholesome. Don't stick your hand in fire. Go ahead, stick your hand in fire. It's going to burn. Okay. That's the protection.
Maharaj.
Okay, let's back here. Can you come forward to get the microphone? Nice to see you. Haven't seen you in a while.
I was one of those people Tuesday online.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yes,
Okay.
couldn't make it with work schedule.
Fine.
This entire class has been a dose of humility for me because half of it went, I think, over my head.
Yeah, okay.
But I did have a question about, I think it was in the Veda side of things that you were covering.
Okay.
That you were talking about Bhuta Bhava
Yeah.
and Bhuta Krit.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to relate it to the Parabrahman feature, Paramatma. Because Krishna says, I am not in the cosmic manifestation.
Right.
But then I understood, like, well, Krishna is with us, like, everywhere, so
yeah.
that's how I go to bed. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to understand, what does Bhuta Bhava, like, is it just Krishna's mind that's with us?
No,
like, that's what it means?
no. He's there, but he's not there. He's there, but he's not there. That is to say, he enters, but it doesn't touch him. He doesn't touch it, it doesn't touch him, but he's there. Because he's always in this transcendental position, not touched by the modes of nature, not touched by time, not touched by, anything that's of the material, because material just simply means forgetful. There's no forgetfulness. There's no material influence upon him, although he's within it, and then he leaves. He can come and go quite freely in a flash. The meaning is, one more time, he is present, but he's not present in the sense that we're present in it.
He's not bound by the Buddha.
Yes, he's not, it doesn't touch him and he doesn't touch it. The classic is the glance of Mahavishnu. He doesn't touch. Shambhu touches. And Shambhu touches, and then he becomes transformed. And thus a different tattva, Shiva tattva. That's a whole other topic. Shiva tattva is like very. If you want to get perplexed, go into Shiva tattva.
I watched all your lectures on Shivratri, so it was good. Second time, like, going through those lectures.
And since that, there's been more research and more research. If you want your mind to spin, I'll send you some of that research. So there's complexity to coming in contact, but Vishnu doesn't come in contact. It's through the agency of others. In this case, Shiva, or through the modes of nature. And the modes of nature are under the influence of his internal potency. And his internal potency, he's directly in touch with his internal potency. Radharani and, the Satchitananda features. He's directly in touch. They're his. And then there's things that are extensions by his will. And so now back to this question, why would he will such a thing? Because living entities want. And he doesn't say no. He's like a loving father. He doesn't want. Living entities want. So he wants, because of love. And, to learn a lesson in the school of hard knocks. You have to learn the hard way, okay. Go ahead, take birth in the material world and try to be an enjoyer. Guess what? Dukkha. No sukha over there. But you want. You're like jumping up and down and child screaming. So, sanction. But so, he's sanctioning, but he's not part of it. He's not part of it like we are when we come and we involve ourselves with Prakriti, trying to be the enjoyer. He doesn't. You got the microphone again. You want the microphone?
Maharaj, my question is a sequel to Namapriya Mataji's question. So please pardon me if you have already answered it. but for intimacy of love, why does oneness and difference have to exist? Is it?
It is a redundant question, but I don't mind redundant questions. I'll do it again.
But I mean, is oneness not sufficient for intimacy of love?
Where's the service? There's oneness. Where's the service? There has to be difference. You're the master, I'm the servant. What does the master want? That's what I want. But it's what does the master want? Our positions are different. He's the master, I'm the servant. And then there's the oneness. Your will is my will. Now, let's go to this diversity topic, the differences within the oneness. So, how many gopi associates are there? Asankhitaha. And then there's two groups. The group that are very submissive and the group that are a little feisty. And it's right in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but Krishna likes more the feisty than the submissive. And that's in love, because even when it's the feisty, it's out of love. The happiness of Krishna is enhanced, and therefore Radharani talks back to him. And what to speak of Lalita, she's got her hands on her hips like this, and shaking her finger. Get out of here. And Krishna likes. No, there's how he responds. He doesn't respond with a big smile saying, "Oh, thank you very much, Lalita, for chastising me." But it's part of his completeness that he likes working his way around that obstacle and finding a way to meet with Radharani. In love. And so the obstacle is in love, but in service.
But that's oneness.
Yeah, but it's in both. It's not just oneness. It's both. It's service in love. And then there's the pendulum swings the other side. There's Chandravali, and she's Radharani's competitor. And she has her gopi associates, and they do spies, and so that it's intrigue. It's loving intrigue, and it's nice. Krishna likes, but the service is there. Or without the service, without the difference, you don't have a relationship. Lover and beloved, the object of love and the abode of love, the heart, and the object that the heart goes to. Must be there. Must be there. And intimacy is incomplete. Then you have just we discussed this. Then you have vague nothingness. Form. Anyway, that's another topic. Someone else. Yeah.
Maharaj, Bheda is important for the respect.
What?
Bheda.
Yeah, okay.
Bheda is important for the respect. The very first slide.
Yes.
And it awakens the dasya mood.
Yeah.
Right. So, so in Vaikuntha, this continuous reverence service is there.
Yeah.
And in Vrindavan, the relationship, the different madhurya, parental. But Prahalad Maharaj isn't the Vraja Madhurya mood, right?
No. Where'd you get that idea? He's a Vaikunthavasi all the way.
Oh, okay.
All the way. Now,
but
it's an important detail. I'm going to edit what you said. In Vrindavan,
yeah,
there's Dasya eclipsed by Madhurya. Madhurya is so strong that the Dasya feature, the Aishvarya feature, you can't see it because it's eclipsed by sweetness.
Okay. That's why. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. I mean,
And
that was my
he's Vaikunthavasi, that's
He's
it.
a Vaikunthavasi. Okay. Yeah. I was that my
Now
that was my
where does Lord
question.
Nrsingadev reside? In Vaikuntha.
Right.
And
Thank
he's
you
a
so much.
Vaikunthavasi. His Lord is in Vaikuntha. Servant. Nothing but.
Wow. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you.
Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I think that's it. Hare Krishna. Okay. So, we'll see you tomorrow. And it can be a little bit lighter tomorrow. Won't be this lighter tomorrow. I promise. Okay. And then comes the weekend. More of the same, and then preparing for Lord Nrsingadev. Excuse me, for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Okay. I'm glad you figured it out, how to get the screen to show. Okay, I have a box of Mahaprasadam, so don't go away yet.
Maharaj. Very intense class, a lot of clarification made. So big round of applause for Maharaj for a very nice class. And I'd also like to thank Kevala Bhakti Prabhu and Anugrah Mataji for hosting today's program. Please give them a big round of applause. And tomorrow's class is at Shri Govind Prabhu and Rupa Vilasni Mataji's home. So we'll see you there. And again, at 6:30, same time as today. And then Saturday morning, we have a program at Sneha Mataji's home, Sneha and Sita Prabhu's home. And in the evening, on Saturday, we have a program at Suresh Prabhu's home, Smita Mataji and Umesh Prabhu's home. And then Sunday mornings at Suresh Prabhu's home, and then Sunday evening at the temple. So please check your schedules, and we have all the information on our WhatsApp groups and the Facebook. Thank you all so much, and I know that everybody has participated in bringing prasadam. Thank you all so much. Hare Krishna. Prasadam prayers. Simply.
Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasane Vajayate Sharira Vidyaja Jodendriya Daheka Jive file beshaya shagare Tara madhya jivati Lobo mae sudurmati Tage jeta katina samsare Krishna baradaya mae Kari bare jiva jai Swaprasadan adilobhai Say annamritapam Shri Radha Krishna Gunagaon Premira ko Sri Chaitanya Nitai Jai Nimai Jai Nitai Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Mahaprasadam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.
He's going to Prahalad complex. That's not confirmed. That's not confirmed. But yeah, right now let's
Oh,